Hey everybody, it's the Dreadpirate, Edward Peeler. I'm back. I would like to start off with a couple shout-outs I'd like to give. Shout out to Chrissy Diggs, that chick with the goggles. Um, Responded to my video on Channel Awesome and informed me that Squall's name means wind, which has been bothering me for like literally 20 years. I've like why is this fucking character named that? I was not expecting anyone from Channel Awesome alumni to even like watch my video, and apparently she did. So that's pretty awesome. I'd also like to give a awesome shout out to the Baron of Cloud City himself, Abu Nas. Thank you, man. Your words were very, very kind and very, very sweet, and I just like, man, yeah, dude, I couldn't. I was flabbergasted by that. I was just like, it just warmed. It was just really, really positive. Positive inspiration to just kind of keep on doing stuff like this, and it's like I couldn't have asked for better positive feedback. And again, dude, you're a legend to me. You're part of the reason I'm doing this right now. And yeah, and that's kind of going to the subject of today. Another shout out to I believe his name is, got him over here, a comic artist pro guy. He's another guy talking about Star Wars, and he basically made the comments. He's actually the guy that was bringing up the topic of conversation I want to talk about today. And he mentioned that Rian Johnson is a perfectly round head, and I thought that was really funny. And I agree, it is a perfectly round fucking head. And yeah, awesome, bro. Keep up the good work. Mara Jade. So we got rumors that Mara Jade is going to be in episode 9. With ComicPro Secrets, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, dude. I've only started watching you recently. But again, you're one of the people that's talking out about... You're one of the people speaking out. You're a fan speaking out against the bullshit going on with Star Wars right now. So you're good in my book, bro. And I promise to stop butchering your name eventually. I'm terrible with names. But he's the guy that brought this up, and I think his video is J.J. Abrams could save the entire franchise with Rey's mother, Mara. And then Jeremy talked about it. I liked what Jeremy had to say. Of Geeks and Gamers, of course. And I started thinking about myself, and I think in many ways it's a good sign. What they're basically doing, and what we've been watching them do for the past 4 months now, is twist in the wind and try to desperately do damage control, and failing miserably at it, given the fallout for this really shitty entry in a beloved series. So this is a blatant attempt to placate us and assure us that it's okay. It's okay. Episode 9 is going to be great. Please don't boycott the theater. Please come and see our movie. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Will it be good? Probably not. Because that's all it is. All it is, look, Mara Jade's here. Mara Jade's here. See, we make the good Star Wars. We don't suck. Our shit don't stink. Our shit do stink. Their shit stink big time. First and foremost, I'm not going to let this fucking go. This is the thing that's been annoying me since Force Awakens, which I liked. You want to bring Mara Jade back into the continuity? Cool. You going to bring everything else back? Because I ain't going to be happy till you bring everything else back. I'm annoyed you took it out of canon in the first place. And it's a blatant kind of pacifier. It's like look, it's Mara Jade. It's Mara Jade. We don't suck. It's not. It completely ignores all the problems that we have with The Last Jedi. And I agree with Jeremy. The more I thought about it, I was initially like, well, maybe I have issues with JJ, especially accusing me of being sexist since I don't like The Last Jedi. But I thought to myself, it's like, well, if they brought her back in, if they put Mara Jade in it and made a movie about her, that could be cool. And maybe it would be a sign that they're trying to fix things. But the problem is, the more I thought about it, I realized it's like, no, because there's still other problems. It's like, first of all, I think what we really need to have happen here is somebody needs to make an apology. At the very least, JJ needs to make an apology for accusing the fans of being sexist. Accusing plenty of women of being sexist. accusing many people who are of the ethnicities they're trying to get to watch these movies, or trying to prop up that they're racist. I think that's part of the problem right there to begin with. It's like, you know, if anything has united this country, out of all the bullshit that's going on right now, if anything is uniting people of all races, religions, and genders, and whatever, and what political affiliations, it's if one thing's uniting us, it's that we don't like this movie. It's kind of sad that all we can get together and agree on is that, yeah, The Last Jedi wasn't that good. But it starts somewhere. Peace starts somewhere, and that's, you know, a common enemy, I think, helps too. But I would like an apology for that. I could maybe forgive JJ and approve of JJ continuing to be part of the new trilogy or the new Star Wars movies that are coming out, if he at least does that, because JJ's done things I liked in the past before. I wouldn't forget about the bullshit he did. And if I don't get that apology, bye. Thank you for Cloverfield. Thank you for Lost, except for the fact that you didn't bother to end it. Thank you for the new Star Trek. Thank you for the first 2 new Star Wars movies. Now go fuck yourself. I'm done. I always had a feeling JJ was a dickhead. There's just always been something about him that bothered me. There's always been something that he does, like in his movies, that are just like, you know, he never, you know. The way he rebooted Star Trek was well, I mean, the way he did his new Star Trek movies was by making a whole new continuity so he didn't have to ignore. He could ignore everything that came before. And again, he did it in a way I found acceptable, but to me, it's a sign of a pattern of behavior I don't like. And just other things too. Lost not having an ending, you know, I mean, is another. It's just little things about him have, you know, kind of raised, you know, have just kind of said to me, this guy's kind of a douche, and for a long time. And now the fact that he did this shit, that just proves it. But, you know, if he actually apologized for what he did, okay, you keep your job. I think the other thing that needs to happen is Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson need to lose their jobs. They just need to. At this point, I won't accept an apology. It will be a start, but it's like, okay, thank you. If Kathleen Kennedy or Rian Johnson were to, like, break down crying and make, you know, and apologize for everything, it would be like, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for finally doing that for us. Now pack up your desk and leave. It's not good enough at this point. It's like they've proven they do not know what they're doing and are not good people to helm this. The final thing that needs to happen for at least for me to continue to enjoy new Star Wars movies again, is we have to completely say, yeah, that last movie, it didn't happen. We need to actually do that. And that's the problem. I think there's another person I'd like to promote here for a bit. She's been on YouTube for a long time, and she's awesome. Comic Book Girl 19. I really like what Comic Book Girl 19 said about the DCEU, because I've hated the DCEU since Man of Steel. I am so glad there is booze at my local movie theater, and I'm so glad I got drunk during Man of Steel, because I needed that booze. And I was like drunk. I already know I made fun of Spoonie a minute ago for not being able to drive home. I was able to drive home after Man of Steel, but I did like drunk call all my friends like, Man of Steel sucks. DC Comics is dead to me. I have problems. So, you know, but I knew right there and then that, okay, the new DC Comics movies are no good. They're just going to keep on going with this. They're going to keep on. And I called it. I saw the writing on the wall years before Justice League even happened. This ain't good. Comic Book Girl 19, at the end of when she reviewed Suicide Squad, made the comment of, I think, like to the response to the question of, can they right the ship? She said, I don't think they can. I think the only thing they need to do at this point is to sink the ship and buy a new ship. Which, given everything we've seen about the DC movies, is exactly what they need to do. The problem with The Last Jedi is so bad and so damaging to canon. Which is remarkable, given all the other Star Wars material before, all the flawed Star Wars material before, given, like, the Star Wars Christmas special. Seriously, Mala and Lumpy didn't really hurt canon that much. Anakin being a whiny little bitch didn't hurt canon that much. Jar Jar, fucking Jar Jar, who I still believe is the reincarnation of Revan. He was the true Sith Lord. He was, Palpatine was the apprentice. Jar Jar was the master. Jar Jar didn't hurt canon that much. There's you know, like at the end of the day, all the flaws with the sequels, excuse me, all the flaws with the prequels, you still have George's vision there, and George's idea of how things should go, and it's still it's still a colorful, exciting world. It's flawed, and again, I don't know if I said this on one of my previous videos or not, but I mean, again, the amount of crap that's out there, that if you honestly give it a chance and try it, it's like, I mean, in all honesty, I did say this last time. The prequels are not that bad. As a bad movie lover, it's like, dude, they got nothing on the Ginger Dead Man. And you know what? I like the Ginger Dead Man. Yeah, Full Moon kicks ass, by the way. You know, just, you know, given if that movie can entertain people and give people joy, there's plenty of good stuff in the prequels that's there for someone to enjoy. There's a lot of color, there's a lot of cool aliens and robots and excitement, and it's still a rich and fresh universe, in spite of all the problems. This movie, The Last Jedi, is so damning in what it does, to a Hallmark character like Luke Skywalker, that there's no going back. The interjection of politics in here is so in your face and so unnecessary. I mean, it really is hitting a brick wall. It really is just driving 100 miles an hour into a solid concrete wall. It's like you had so much potential, so much momentum going in, and bam, and just fucked it all up. To the point, where do you go from here? I mean, in all honesty, what they really need to do is they really need to get, first of all, I think all of us, look, what they need to do is they need to give Luke Skywalker a fruit basket. They need to give him a fruit basket and say, look, we're really sorry. We're really sorry. We're going to make that movie non-canon. We're going to pay you double. We're going to pay you double what we paid you last time. Please come back. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. Complete. You can help write it. And then all of us, myself included, owe George Lucas a fruit basket. George Lucas needs like a fruit basket bomb. He needs like just like his, the Skywalker estate needs to just like, you know, have like just trucks and trucks of fruit baskets with little, I'm sorry, the prequels aren't that bad. You know, we love you, George. That needs to be sent to George Lucas like ASAP. You know, straight up. Straight up. We all owe George an apology. You know? And you know what? Indy 4 wasn't that bad either. It was a little dumb. It wasn't that bad. I remember the fucking haters for Indy 4. It was fucking ridiculous. It was bullshit. Whatever. Oh, CGI gopher. Who gives a shit? You let a CGI gopher ruin a movie for you? Fuck you. Anyway. I think that's the problem. And here's the thing. Now, I'm rambling because that's what I do. Why is Mara Jade a problem? Why do we need to retcon The Last Jedi? Well, duh, of course we need to retcon it. But it's more than that. Because you can't just throw Mara Jade into this universe anymore. Because it doesn't fix anything. Because if Mara Jade is here, then that means Mara Jade is Luke's wife. And if Mara Jade is also Rey's daughter, then that makes Luke look even worse in The Last Jedi. And anything going forward will say, the Luke Skywalker we know and love is dead. He was dead prior to this movie, The Last Jedi coming out. He's this shell of a man that drinks walrus semen. And adding on top of the, oh, you were about to casually murder your nephew and son's best friend. Oh, on top of that, you abandon your daughter on, like, ghetto Tatooine. And, Jakku, yeah. You abandoned your daughter there. And when she came back to see you, you didn't even acknowledge that she was your daughter. You didn't treat her like a daughter. You didn't say, oh my God, I've missed you for so long. And I don't care any explanation they come up with, which they're going to have to. They need to perform some serious oral sex on whatever script they are trying to do in order to actually make it intelligible, in order to actually rationalize The Last Jedi, that I don't think they can do it. I thought of Allegiant and the Divergent series. Okay, why the fuck am I bringing up Divergent? Okay, well, why did I bring up Star Trek last time I talked about Star Wars? Why did I bring up anything? Why did I bring up Ash vs. the Evil Dead? Because I'm an asshole. By the way, did you see the last Ash vs. the Evil Dead? Holy shit. I think like a Hellmouth has opened up in Elk Grove. It's fucking badass. Yeah, I can't wait for Sunday. Anyway. I bring up Divergent because um, I, I I really hated Insurgent. I really hated the second movie. I have no like backstory with the books. I've never read the books. I was friends with someone in boot camp who read the books and loved them, and was actually commenting to me. It's like, yeah, Insurgent the movie sucked. The book was so much better. Um, but like my dad and I, occasionally as science fiction fans, we occasionally just like, oh, a sci-fi movie. You want to watch it? And he picked up Divergent from the red box and we watched it. And especially as like a dystopian story, I really liked Divergent. I really got into Divergent, and I think like in all honesty, what probably got me the most excited was the thing that was the least important in that movie because it's a YA movie, so it's like it's more important. In many ways, the least important, the most important thing is her or her and Four going to get together, or the typical YA kind of crap. But I actually really like the idea of that wall outside of Chicago, where in Four's like we don't know what's out there, could be anything. And I remember that was like the part of the movie that got me the most excited. I was like, we don't know, it could be anything out there, could be monsters out there. And I was like, what kind of monsters are out there? Is it zombies? Is it zombies 4? Tell me it's zombies. Is it Terminators? Is it Terminators? Is it Sentinels? Great old ones from H.P. Lovecraft? What the fuck's out there? It's Nazis riding dinosaurs, isn't it? It's Nazis with flamethrowers riding dinosaurs. Fucking awesome. Yeah, no. And that really, the idea of what is out there, the unknown, is really cool. Which I think is why I've never really sat down and watched them, but the very little I've watched of the Maze Runner movies, I really kind of liked because it was like, yeah, zombies, giant robot spider monsters. It was like, ooh, it's kind of neat. But the long and short of this is I like Divergent. I don't know what. Okay, I'm getting off topic here. I like Divergent, but I really hated Insurgent. I thought Insurgent was a piece of shit. And it was like the second half of the movie she just spends in virtual reality while all of her friends like overthrow the government. And it's like, that would have been really cool to see. And it was just like Insurgent was really, really super bad. And I was expecting, it. That was it. And then and then Allegiant comes out, and I was actually in Jacksonville on leave at the time. And me and a friend of mine basically went to see Allegiant, and Allegiant was really good. Allegiant like made up for Insurgent. Why do I bring this up? What I'm saying is maybe that can happen with Episode 9. Maybe Episode 9 can do that. Where like I felt like I like Divergent, I like Allegiant, I don't like Insurgent. It's like but the beginning of the series is good and the ending of the series is not bad, at least for me. And maybe they can pull that off. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Monkeys might fly out of my ass, but it's possible. But the problem is, it's like I don't know how they would do that with the Last. How can you fix the Last Jedi? I don't know. I have no fucking clue. Anything that comes up is like not going to work. Like prior to Mark Hamill saying, "I'm done, I'm out." By the way, good job, Mark. The OG, Mark. You good, man. Prior to that, my dad was like, "Oh, well, he's going to come back somehow," and it's like, Dad, no, he's dead. He's Faith of Force, yeah, but Obi-Wan Kenobi came. He's gonna come back, and it's like, all right, well, but Dad, he's gonna come back as a Force ghost. Nobody wants to see him as a Force ghost. They'll come up with something. Because my dad gives much of a less of a shit about these things than I do, and that was problematic to begin with too, because it was like, all right, so if he comes back, he'll just come back as a fucking Force ghost, and like just give advice because Force ghosts don't get involved, and if they do get involved, if they do start calling lightning like Yoda did, it has uncomfortable implications because it's like, okay, why the fuck did you guys not get involved at all before? In Lord of the Rings, like Aragorn went and got a whole army of ghosts to help fight the orcs. Yeah, you fuckers could have done that. We could have used that, especially if you can all shoot lightning. Those ghosts couldn't shoot lightning. Could you shoot lightning? What the fuck? And it brings up, it's weird because it's there is precedent for the ghosts being able to fight, because in the expanded universe, as you know, especially those of you who played Knights of the Old Republic, the Sith ghosts can fight and are evil and are problematic. There's like one boss encounter where it's like a Sith ghost, but it's like bound to a single room. So I feel like you need to explain more about the lore of the Force and how it works and why the ghosts typically don't get involved unless it means like advising or whatnot. It would raise too many problems more than anything else. It's like it's unfixable. They killed him off. They killed off all of the beloved classic characters that are human, that regularly speak lines and don't growl like a werewolf. I'm talking about Chewie, of course, or our droids or whatnot. They killed off the classic 3 heroes. There's no going back. And they really bet wrong. Again, they killed off the 2 characters that are played by actors who are still alive, and they kept around the 1 character who was played by a woman who has sadly passed away. There's no fixing this. And in addition to that, anything that would be interesting about the previous characters has just been destroyed. They're not, like, I don't care about their arcs. Their arcs really went nowhere. There's no, it's that fucking bad. And then it also, there's nothing, one thing, again, Rich Evans, who I need to apologize to as well. Not that, I don't think he gives a shit. But, again, I have a blog, where one of the things I did in the blog was I reviewed Rogue One, and I made fun of the Red Letter Media guys because they weren't that impressed with it. Because I like Rogue One, as a lot of people do, like The Force Awakens, like a lot of people do. But Rich Evans basically came out and said, look, all they know are AT-ATs and TIE fighters and the things we've seen in previous movies. They don't know anything else. And fucking Rich Evans is a goddamn prophet. He's like, we've already discovered on Best of the Worst that man has ESP of some kind. He knows how, he figures things out before they happen. He's really good at it. And he predicted this completely and utterly, because at the time of Rogue One, the announcement that the expanded universe is no longer canon had already been made. But I think I, as well as many fans, were like, that's cute, JJ. That's adorable. Just kind of patted him on the head, and we're gonna believe whatever you want. And it's the type of thing where if they had not said that in the first place, or if they had just gone back on it and just not said anything, all would be forgiven, because it would just kind of, that's how you deal with that. It's like, cute. I remember like when the New 52 for DC Comics came out, and we were rebooting everything. We're rebooting Superman. We're rebooting everything. We're rebooting Green Lantern. And Jeff Johns was just kind of like, that's great, Dan. I'm just going to keep on writing the Green Lantern storyline I've been writing, and I'm going to do it. It's part of one of the problems with the New 52 is, like, I thought everything was rebooted, and it wasn't rebooted. It was like, some books are rebooting, some books are going the same path they always were going on. What's real? I don't know. That was one of the problems there. It was like, but it could have been done, that might have probably worked better in the movies, where it's just like, yeah, it's still canon. Don't do that to people. Don't do that to fans. But no, he's right. So because the expanded universe is no longer canon, because it's Legends now, which again, gag me with roughage, nothing's established. Nothing. The rich lore of this universe is gone. The only thing that's canon now are 6 movies. 6, maybe 7. 7 movies, and maybe the Clone Wars, and maybe Rebels, and that's it. And it's denying everything else that we've seen. I mean, for all we know, the Wookiee homeworld is different than what's been previously established. For all we know, the Mon Calamari are different. It's like they could write anything here, and they're choosing to write nothing. It's like, the more I think about the destruction of what we think was Coruscant in the Force Awakens, and the fact that the Rebels were so distraught in The Last Jedi, what they're basically saying is, like, that was it. That was the death of the Republic right there. The Starkiller base took out Coruscant and a bunch of other planets that are immediately next to it. Republic's over. An entire fucking galaxy. With countless planets. Mon Calamari, the Wookiee homeworld, Kashyyyk, all these other worlds that we've previously established, Tatooine, all that, that's all, there's no Republic anywhere else. It was one of the things that didn't sit right with me. None of it makes sense. And it's like, there's so much damage that's been done at this point. I think adding Mara Jade is just going to make it worse, because it's going to, what essentially you're going to do is, you're going to, I'm getting back on topic because I got off and I didn't even know where I went. So, ramble. Adding Mara Jade in is not going to help anything, because essentially all you're doing is you're basically just trying to give us a pacifier to shut us up, to say, look, we have Mara Jade now. We're the Star Wars you love. You should like us again, and you should watch our movie. That's all it is. It's going to raise more questions. It's going to raise questions like, okay, well, why did you abandon Rey? Where were you this entire time, Mara? What the fuck were you up to? Do you have a fucking excuse? It's like, you know, it's going to make her look bad. You have an opportunity here not to revitalize everything. You have an opportunity to ruin another beloved character. And it's going to make things worse. So the only really way to fix this is, honestly, to scrap The Last Jedi. Go back now, while it's fresh, and say, okay, that movie is no longer canon. That movie was a fever dream. That, you know, and go back and basically shoot a new movie. Sadly, without Carrie Fisher. And you could either tastefully do what was done in Star Trek Beyond for Leonard Nimoy, where you could say, oh, she passed away shortly at this time and she was a hero to all of us, and maybe have Rey or Luke like mourn her, and just kind of quietly, which would be a nice way to do it. Or you could just say she's just not around. She's leading the fight somewhere else. There's a yeah, maybe she's on Kashyyyk. She's on Kashyyyk fighting off the Empire over there, and you could basically have her kind of ride off into the sunset, kind of like how how James Doohan basically did in Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know, just, you know, we don't need to cover it. We don't need to talk about it. She's out there somewhere. She's out there being awesome, saving the universe, because in fiction she can live forever. You know, you could do that. I think they really need to shoot a whole new movie and fix it, or completely start fresh and just dump the entire new movies in favor of something new, which with completely new leadership I think could help. But at the same time, again, I think there's value in The Force Awakens. I think there's value in Rogue One. I wouldn't mind keeping them. Or we could all just say how it should have ended as canon now. I don't know, like write Daniel Baxter a check for $2 million and just say, good job! You did our job for us, parody man! This is canon now! And he's like, rocking, and then, like, I don't know, he'll blow up. He'll blow up, like, even bigger. That's the super lazy answer. They could just basically say, yeah, this guy did the work for us because we couldn't be bothered to. But I think if you bring Mara Jade, it's just gonna basically make things worse, and it's a publicity stunt. It's a publicity stunt. Okay, Mara Jade's coming back into canon. Okay, bring the rest of canon back. I've also heard this rumor that, oh, she's gonna be Snoke's second apprentice. No. Fuck you. No Snoke. I don't want Snoke. I don't want this garbage character that was just a complete... I don't care even if the plan was for him to be Plagueis. No, you ruined him. You ruined him with this movie. He wasn't even that worth the shit to begin with. Even in The Force Awakens, it was like he was mildly interesting at best. And half of that was due to the fact that the hologram was giant and made at least really stupid people like me with active imaginations think that he's a giant alien. That's awesome. And which, of course, wasn't true. Maybe you shouldn't have CGI'd a character that is essentially just an old man. Maybe, look, I don't want to make no insult to Andy Serkis, but like Andy Serkis, we could have put like old age makeup on you. Look, I know playing CGI characters is your thing, but you know, you can also just act not CGI'd. You were great in Black Panther, all 10 minutes of you. We just put old age makeup on Andy and just make him and say, okay, you're Darth Plagueis. No, there was nothing really impressive about Snoke to begin with, least of all his stupid fucking name. Snoke! Sounds like a half-melted s'more. No. I don't want Mara Jade. Mara Jade is so fucking awesome. I don't want Mara Jade connected anything with, like, The Last Jedi, much less Snoke. I want her nothing to do with this. Oh, other problems. Other problems with basically bringing Mara Jade into this. Okay. If you bring Mara Jade into this, well, then you're acknowledging the Timothy Zahn novels. So if you're acknowledging the Timothy Zahn novels, which you should anyway, since Grand Admiral Thrawn is in Rebels, if you're acknowledging those as canon, okay, well, as much as I like The Force Awakens, and as much as I like Rogue One, that raises more problems too. Okay, for example, how many fucking kids did Han and Leia have? You had Jace and Jason Solo, and then there's another Jedi kid that I forgot the name of. I'm spacing on at this moment. And then there's Kylo Ren. How many times have these two shat out a kid? 3, 4 times? Okay. How come, like, Mara and Luke only had Rey recently? It raises more questions that don't work. And I feel like I feel like there's another level of complete misunderstanding of what makes Star Wars awesome that's gone on from day one that I'm just thinking of this now, actually, is that why is there all this fucking focus, and has been all this focus on parentage and in terms of these new Star Wars movies? It's like half of what's been going on here is who's Rey? Who's Rey's parents and her backstory? Like, even these mysteries they set up that people wanted answers to and people were excited about. Okay, you know what I like about Star Wars? I like lightsabers. I like lasers. I like spaceships. I like aliens. I like good heroes going on adventures. I like the old classic heroes like Luke, Han, Leia, and Chewie, and 3PO, and R2, and Lando. I like those. I like newer characters that we know less about, but have, you know, basically become awesome in various other media, like Revan and Basila and Carthonasi, Mara Jade, Dash Rendar from Shadows of the Empire. I like those characters. I like Mace Windu. I like the characters that are in the prequels. Say what you will of the prequels. Yeah, I like Amidala. I can't say I like Anakin with a straight face. I like Ahsoka. Ahsoka's cool. Ahsoka's awesome. I like the Rebels characters. Anakin's okay. He's okay. Yeah. Can't make that garbage word come out of my mouth. I like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. I like that. I like Darth Maul. Darth Maul's cool. I like that. I like all those characters going on adventures in outer space. There has been too much focus, I think, on the parentage of who these characters are, specifically Rey. Whereas I think, again, I'm going to echo what a lot of people have said before. There's nothing wrong with Rey's parents being nobody. But the problem with her being nobody is then what was the point of setting up who her parents were in the first movie? And they didn't even have to answer it in this one. They could have just given clues to who her parents were. And again, one thing I liked about The Force Awakens was it felt like a Star Wars role-playing game. It felt like Rey was just a player who picked a Jedi. I want to make a Jedi. I want to make a lady Jedi. I want to be an X-wing pilot. I'm going to call him Poe Dameron. I want to play a stormtrooper. Well, we're an all-good campaign. You can't play a bad. No. I'm a stormtrooper who's like doesn't want to be a stormtrooper. I'm rebelling. It's like, that's a cool character. Hey, you know what? You can bail like our fighter pilot out of Dodge. You know, I like this idea, says the dungeon master. That again, and maybe like Kylo is like the DM's friends. Like, you're gonna be the bad guy. You're the Sith. You're the Sith. You know, and to me, it did feel like role-playing characters. And again, most role-playing characters are not friends of canon. They're just other. Not every Jedi needs to be connected to the Skywalkers. There have been tons that haven't been connected to the Skywalkers. Red Letter Media famously pointed out that, like, Darth Vader himself and all this focus on Darth Vader wasn't even that necessary in the prequels. Darth Vader, like, Mike Silvassa is Plinkett is adamant that, Darth Vader was just a big scary bad guy. Why is the story of Anakin Skywalker so important? He was a throwback to the old, bad cowboy in black that, from old westerns and old serials. He was the Nazi. He was the Gestapo leader. He was a big guy, the big scary bad guy. He was part of a larger story. Now, I don't 100% agree with that. I feel like Anakin's story is important. Or at least nothing else become important in terms of the mythos. But that's the thing. It's not necessarily that important to the universe. There are tons of Sith out there. There are tons of Jedi out there. What if we find out that, like, Rey is like Darth Maul's granddaughter? Like, what if? Seriously. I mean, think about that. Think about how ridiculous that is. Why not? I mean, you want to be, who are your parents? It's Darth Maul. Yes, Darth Maul and Asajj Ventress had a baby, and that baby had less horns and banged some other person, and you came out. You're half alien and you don't even know it. But that's why you're dark side sensitive. I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much. If, like, they want to, you know, like if you want to just make a new character that we get to know and enjoy, that's fine. That's what happened in Rebels. Who's Ezra? No one cares. Ezra is his own thing. Ezra is basically Aladdin turned into a Jedi, and he's awesome. Kaylin, Hera, Sabine, and the big alien monster that's played by Steve J. Blum. I'm spacing on his name at the moment. It's been a while since I've watched Rebels. They're great. They're great. And they're all new original characters, but based off of stuff we've seen before. You got your Jedis, you got your Twi'leks, you got your Mandalorians, you got your alien creature that we get to know, and your droids. It's like, it's a big, rich universe. Maybe our focus should just be on having a really cool space adventure. You know? Maybe that's part of the problem here, is we're getting all wrapped up in who is Rey, what are, like, which essentially is just justification of why she's a Mary Sue. You know, I mean, they can talk about how, like, oh, her parents aren't important, and she's nobody. Okay, well, but the problem is, at this point, you've made her important. You've made her a child of destiny, one way or another. That's why she's being accused of being a Mary Sue. So, I mean, the damage is kind of done there. So I'm thinking, like, this Mara Jade thing is a bad idea. Before I go, so I heard through the grapevine, I was looking on YouTube, and, like, there's apparently we're getting a Solo trilogy? That's a bad idea, too. I need to save that for something to complain about tomorrow. So we'll save that for later. But before I go, one more thing. What should we as fans do? Well, for starters, keep doing this. Keep protesting. Keep voicing your opinion. Keep talking about how we're not happy with what's going on here. We're not okay. And finally, you need to vote. You need to vote with this, your wallet. You need to not go to Solo. You need to not go to Episode 9. You need to say no until things change. And what really needs to, and I've knocked over my, what really needs to happen here is we need a change of leadership going on at Lucasfilms. We need a change of leadership going on at Disney. I'm hoping the mouse is greedy enough that I can realize, like, hey, we're losing money on the Star Wars property. We should fix things. Hopefully, greed can do some good here and convince them to change their ways. I think it will. I think basically, with the hatred that's palpable in this movie right now, I may be naive, but I believe in karma. And I believe that, given enough time, people that make mistakes are eventually punished for it. Especially when it's willful, when it's malicious, or it's just incompetent. It's not working out. It's just like, you're not going to keep your job if you continue to screw up and you show no signs that you actually want to improve. I don't care. Jeremy, way back, talked about how, oh man, she's got so much power in Hollywood. She gets so, and the thing is, but Jeremy kept on talking about how she's got to go, and that's had an impact. We've all had an impact on this. You guys more than me. I just started complaining. I just really started like YouTube channel because I wanted to post my dumb D&D games online. But people are mad about this. People are, and even people not, those of you out there not making videos about this, spread word of mouth, man. Talk about how you're not happy what's going on here, and whatever you do not see these movies. Or if you want to see it, don't pay to see it. Wait. And again, I'm not advocating anything. I would never advocate anything illegal. I would never say buy a ticket to Infinity War and then walk in and see Solo if you're absolutely curious. But I'm saying somebody out there might do something like that. That's the thing. And the thing is here is, again, they're in such a hot spot at this point where they made this bomb of a movie. They're sitting and spinning trying to fix it, or trying to cover for it, and without changing anything. They don't want to change anything. Kathleen wants to push her agenda, and beyond that, they want to keep on acting like everything's fine, and they don't want to lose any damn money. Whereas what they should be doing is, okay, how do we improve things? How do we fix things? What are people responding to? Take cues from the classics. Charles Dickens. I know my friend Auxentius doesn't read, the Philistine that he is. But, Charles Dickens was basically the greatest writer of the 19th century. And when people would write in to his stories, because he published his stories in monthly installments, much like comic books or pulp magazines. In many ways, Charles Dickens is credited with basically inventing the cliffhanger. From book to book, if there were, he would always publish them 3 chapters at a time. And if someone wrote into him that he, oh, I really don't care for this chapter too much, that character will be dead in the next monthly installment. And it wasn't, and Charles would always say, I value my public's good taste, which was bullshit. He didn't want to lose 1 red cent. He wanted money. And that's why I am a firm believer in capitalism on one hand and art on the other. Between, you can make wonderful art and good business if you work together properly. But you have to do it. And that's what they should be doing. They should be looking at our complaints, looking at our concerns, and actively trying to do the right thing. And I think in many ways, the rumor that Mara Jade's going to be in this movie is a good sign. It means because they are desperately at this point trying to get us to go to see episode 9. Okay, that's great. The problem is, the battleground is Solo, which is coming up. The problem is, the battleground is we're already dissatisfied. We're already dissatisfied with not only the movie, but their behavior post the movie. And now, the next movie that they're coming out with is a movie no one wanted in the fucking first place. Prior to all this, I was a little bit optimistic for it. It's like a lot of people were expressing, I don't want to see, like, Solo's origin story. And I was like, I don't really need it. But, again, this was before The Last Jedi. I was like, Disney hasn't let me down so far. I'll give it a shot, see what they do. And now that we know that Star Wars is not in good hands, I'm not looking forward to it. I am not going to pay to see it. I am, I don't know. I'm gonna wait and like essentially find some way to see it for free. Not that I'm gonna do anything illegal, but maybe I will pay for see Infinity War a second time and accidentally get lost on the way to the theater and slip into Solo for a minute. Maybe I'm not saying that's what I'm gonna do. But the only reason I'm going to eventually watch Solo is because that's where the battleground's at. It's the next one that they're doing. It's the next Star Wars movie. And again, I am convinced, once Luke died, that, well, Star Wars is dead. I'm only watching Solo to confirm that. And who knows? They might pull it out of the ballpark there. It is important, however, not to pay to see it. Again, I'm not advocating anything illegal, but it's important not to see the movie, at least initially. Or don't pay to see it or go see another movie or something like that. Or like, I don't know. Wait for it to come out on Netflix for free or something like that. It's like, it's more important to do that to send a message. Send a message, we are not happy with this. We are not pleased with what's going on right now. We want you to change. Because that's the only way they're going to change. When it starts hurting them in the pocketbook, that's the only time they're going to do anything different. And again, everything that's gone on so far, I don't care how many expanded universe characters you put in episode 9. I don't care if you put Mara Jade. I don't care if you put Revan in there. I don't care if you do something really freaking cool, like there's 10 Rancors with like machine guns fighting in the damn thing. I don't care. At this point, what we've seen so far, it's not going to be worth seeing. It's going to be hot garbage. And the real tragedy is that Hollywood is not a democracy. It's another franchise. 2 franchises I mourn are Transformers and the Ninja Turtles. I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan. I'm a bigger Ninja Turtles fan than I'm a Transformers fan. But I like Transformers well enough, and we've had the Michael Bay Ninja Transformers, and it's like they suck. I like the first one. And my response to the second one was, this is the most entertained and annoyed I've ever been. And the more I thought about it, I just really didn't like it. It was full of annoying characters and it was dumb. And no, I don't want to. So I've avoided all the ones after that. And it's the type of thing where, unfortunately, it makes money. So we've been stuck with it. It's made Michael Bay millions of dollars. Maybe more than that, maybe billions. Fucking A. I don't know. And it's the type of thing where it's like, okay, when do I get my Transformers back? When do I get a Transformers movie that isn't garbage? When it ceases to be profitable. And someone else who gives a shit takes it over. And fortunately, they haven't done as well. My buddy Josh keeps on threatening, oh yeah, they're making a third one. I'm like, no, they're not. It sucked. And, no one cares. But yeah, the 2 Ninja Turtles movies we had were garbage. Fortunately, like, Out of the Shadows was so bad. Yeah, like, oh yeah, they're making a third one. They're making a third. Yeah, no, they're not. They're not making a third one. It did not make a profit. Nobody liked it. It was shit. And the worst part is also that was our introduction to stuff I've always wanted to see in a Ninja Turtles movie. That was our introduction to Krang, the Technodrome, and Bebop and Rocksteady. And it's like I wrote an idea for how like I would like to see those characters in a movie. And no, our first introduction is like, garbage. They could have been so fucking cool. It could have been fucking great. No, shit. And it's the type of thing where it's like, it makes me sad because I love Ninja Turtles so much. That was my entire childhood. I adore Ninja Turtles. And it's like, well, you know, I can't enjoy a Ninja Turtles movie for about 10 years. I can't enjoy it until it changes hands and someone who gives a shit again. And that's the shame of it. That's the problem. But does that mean we should be negative? Does that mean we should be upset about this and like, oh, should we just complain and just be dissatisfied? No. You complain. You complain for a reason. You complain because you want to change things. You make your voice heard so you can affect positive change. And it might take forever. It might take a long ass time. In terms of important problems like that don't have to do with a movie, it could take your lifetime to fix things. But things do change. So we got to stay positive. We got to keep going. And I think, and you just let your voice be heard. And again, I know this is, I'm gonna end this the way I Live in Hyperspace does. If you can hear this, you are the resistance. You are the rebellion. So keep at it. Don't see these garbage movies. Let your voice be heard. Let Disney know they got to change things. This is the Dreadpirate, signing off.